Hey guys, it's Jake here with Etrailer. Today we have a 2024 Ram 1500 and we're going to be taking a look at, and I'm going to help you get installed, the Blue Ox Direct Connect base plate for flat towing. Your base plate is going to be the physical connection from your front of your truck so that you can connect up your tow bar to flat tow it down the road. What I really like about this particular base plate is that it's going to only stick out of your two openings where your safety tow loops would have been from the factory. Ours didn't have tow loops on it, so we just had to remove the plastic covers. But it looks really, really clean when it is on the front of your truck. And when you're not flat towing, you can take these removable easy tabs out. You take those out, and the only thing that you can really see is going to be this safety chain loop. In addition to your base plate, the other four flat towing components that you're going to need are going to be your braking system, your safety cables, your tow bar, and your diode wiring. My favorite part about this installation, or this particular base plate, is that you're going to have spots to mount all of your other components on the base plate, which means there's not going to be any other drilling into your bumper that you'll have to do. We put an Air Force One on here, so it had a hole in the base plate for that. It had a hole so that we could put our breakaway switch in, and then on the driver's side, it's going to come with two tabs that we can mount our 6-pole directly to. And when I say this is a clean install, this is very, very clean. You've got your 6-pole over there, and you've got all of your other components over there. And when you take disconnect your flat tow from the back of your coach, you're not gonna have hardly anything left on the front of your vehicle, and it's not gonna change the look of the aesthetics of your Ram. As far as the installation goes, this install is pretty simple. A lot of flat towing components. To get them installed, you're gonna have to remove the bumper anyway to get them mounted up. And for the base plate, that is the trick with this, is you'll have to take the bumper off, but that's not very hard to do. It is only going to be 3 nuts behind it. There'll be 18mm nuts, and then there's some paneling that you have to remove from either wheel well. Different from a lot of other vehicles. I know a lot of GM vehicles, you have to remove like the front grille and all that other stuff. For this, you just have to take the front bumper off, and it'll give you access to get this base plate installed. With all that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the install. To begin our installation, anything we do to one side of the vehicle, we are going to be doing to the other. But we're going to start with an 8mm socket. There's 3 screws on the inside of our wheel well right along the edge that we'll have to take out. The next 2 we'll have to remove are going to be these 2 on the inside of the wheel well, and this whole liner piece will then come out. Underneath our vehicle, on each end of the frame rail, there's going to be 3 18mm nuts that are holding our bumper on. We're going to have to take an 18mm socket in order to get those off. I'd say there's 2 on the outside, top and bottom. The top inner one is going to be the hardest to get to. The other 2, you should be able to get a drill in there and zip those off. But I've just got a breaker bar here with a swivel head on it, and I was able to get that taken off with a short socket. Now what I've got here on the passenger or the driver's side, it really doesn't matter which one you leave. Just leave 1 nut on partially. I just zipped it off to the very end there, and we're going to leave that last one on kind of as a safety measure because it's the only thing that's holding the rest of this bumper on. We do have some electrical we have to take off, and then we can take that nut off and remove the bumper. Here's our electrical plug. We'll take the little red safety tab, snap that open. And to pry this clip open. There we go, just like that. And then it should kind of push itself out. Just need to get that disconnected. Like that. Now we can take that last nut off and pull our bumper off. With an extra set of hands, we'll grab our bumper, and the studs may be a little stuck, but we're just going to wiggle it out until those studs come loose, and then we'll set it off to a safe place. If you have tow loops, you're gonna have to take the front bolt out of the tow loop and the back bolt out of the tow loop. Without having tow loops, we can just start from here. We're going to take our bracket, and you'll notice real quick how they're going to fit. They're slanted to make up for this angle on the frame. So you make sure you got it on the right side. The tabs here for our 6-pole are going to be on the driver's side. So we'll line this up with that threaded hole. Use the black bolt that comes in your kit. Just going to use this to hold it in place. We are going to have to drill a hole on the inside here on the bracket and then on the further back section here. We're just going to run that bolt up tight so it gets our plate up where we want it to be able to drill our holes out. We are going to eventually pull that back out and put some red Loctite on it. Both of our holes that we're drilling out, this one and the one underneath going to the bottom of the frame rail, are going to have to be a 1/2 inch eventually. So a good trick here is our hole is a little bit larger than a 1/2 inch, but we're going to use a 1/2 inch drill bit to mark out the spot in the center. And we've got a spot marked there now. We're going to step up from smaller drill bits and eventually work up to a 1/2 inch. You'll want to take one of the whiz nuts that come in your kit. They'll have a little handle on them. Put a slight bend for the bottom bolt that has to go in it because there's going to be a pipe spacer in this frame rail we're going to have to go around. So go around that, slide your bolt up into place. You want to take a lock washer, throw that on there, put some red Loctite on it. And then this is kind of tricky. Just find the whiz nut with the bolt. Make sure it's straight. You can feel it start to thread because then you won't have to hold the bolt anymore, and then the whiz nut will also not move. So let's run that up hand tight. We'll do the same thing to the other hole that we drilled on the other side. Grab a 19mm socket, snug these 2 bolts up. Don't worry about these handles for now. We'll eventually break them off if they don't break off during this process. I've removed that black bolt. I'll take some red Loctite, put that on there. Then we're just going to run this back up into place. Once you've repeated that process on the other side of the vehicle, we'll come back with our appropriate sockets, and then we're going to torque all 3 of these bolts down to the specifications in the instructions. Once you get everything torqued down, we'll grab these little poles. The ones on the ends here for this nut is really easy. Just wiggle them back and forth and break it off. This one that's back here is a little bit more difficult, but just grab it with the pliers and try to push in and out until you break that little tack weld. Now we'll take our safety cables. You're going to run it up and over top of the frame rail. And we'll tuck it behind. You want to be sure to stay away from this auto dampener. We're going to set it just like that. Loop it through this hole and tuck both of those on there. I'm going to run this down. And I always like to take a little bit of red Loctite. Just put a small drop on there before we tighten it down all the way. Now we're going to have a big loop of extra safety cable here, so I just take 2 zip ties, put them together, and then cinch them up tight to this frame rail so that it doesn't droop down and get in the way of anything. Last thing we'll need to do is on our bumper, we've got these plastic covers that are where our toe loops would have been. If you have the toe loops, you may just have to remove the rubber inserts that are in them, but we did not have toe loops, so we've got these big plastic covers. Just take a 8mm socket and get these removed. There's just 2 nuts holding the top of it in. We should be able to slide it out after that. Once you get the 2 nuts off, we're just going to take a pry bar here and we're going to pry out. Get this tab to release. Just need to get that piece to pop out the front side. You're ready to put your bumper back up into place. If you're anything like us, you want to take this opportunity to get all the rest of your flat toe components installed. That means your breakaway switch for your braking system, get the braking system installed, get your 6-pole wiring installed, Get all that stuff done before you put the bumper back on. It's going to make it a lot easier to route your wiring up and into the engine bay. We're going to go ahead and do that, and we'll come back and throw the bumper back on. Well guys, hopefully this video helped you decide whether or not the Blue Ox Direct Connect base plate is right for you in your 2024 Ram 1500.